In nature, loners don't have a very good prospect for survival. The same happens in society. You gotta learn how the game works so you can pave an easier path, not only in your professional life, but in your personal life as well. But what if someone choose the extreme opposite of that? How hard would it be? What consequences would this person face? Well, let's see it together. Let's embark on the journey of the loneliest man on earth. Let me tell you a little bit about the climber and the value of bones. Our story starts in the south of Tokyo, at Kanagawa Prefecture. In the Yokosuka High School, we have a very special student who just enrolled, our protagonist, Mori Buntaro. Mori apparently is a student without dreams or aspirations. He just wants to stay on his lane, doing nothing. Being in Japan and in a high school setting, of course we'll have some tropes. As Mori arrives, another student by the name of Miyamoto starts to pick on him. Miyamoto apparently is pretty good at climbing, as he climbed the school building just to mess with Mori. Miyamoto then, seeing that Mori is very annoyed with everything that is happening, tried to make a deal with our protagonist. If Mori climbs the school building from the bottom all the way to the roof, he wouldn't bother Mori anymore. That was just a deal that Miyamoto proposed in a whim to see Mori chicken out, but his expectations are shattered when Mori accepts the deal. Without ropes, he starts free climbing the building. Everybody notices what is happening, even the teachers. Miyamoto tries to give some help to Mori as he thought the boy wouldn't be naive enough to actually do it, but Mori keeps going. The adrenaline rush is pumping through his veins. Mori is way more athletic than he looks, and apparently has very good instincts for climbing. From the people screaming, adrenaline pumping, and focused mindset, our protagonist does the impossible. He makes a jump that, if mistaken, would take his life on the spot. But he's able to do it. Mori Buntaro, at that moment, felt as he could do anything, all by himself. The boy, now exhausted in the roof, lost in thoughts, not knowing how and why he did what he did, is harshly scolded by a teacher. But for Mori's luck, that was no ordinary teacher. He then proceeds to say the lines that would put this story in motion.
Did it feel good?
Huh?
Over there, you can get closer to the sky.
But this, my friends, this was just the base of the mountain. To get to the peak, you gotta come with me so I can show you the real story of Mori Buntaro. The climber manga originally is named Koko no Hito, which can be translated roughly to solitary or individual person. This manga is based on a true story that you can check on a novel written by Jiro Enita. It was originally serialized in Shueisha's seinen manga magazine, Weekly Young Jump, from November 2007 to October 2012, with its chapters collected in 17 volumes. The series tells the story of introvert solo mountain climber Mori Buntaro, who is introduced to sport climbing after being transferred to a new high school and later dedicates his entire life to professional mountain climbing, keeping the ascent of K2's east face, the second hardest mountain in the world, as his final goal. In 2010, the climber won an Excellence Prize at the 14th Japan Media Arts Festival. From what I told you, you might be thinking that this story is basically a sports shonen, and you are not completely wrong, as the first 3 volumes are very connected to that idea. The protagonist finds a sport that he loves, finds a good teacher, gets very competitive, joins tournaments, and yada yada. But the real deal of the climber is actually not related at all with climbing. What I'm talking about here is what happens from volume 3 to volume 4. To make a long story short, because of creativity clashes between the writer and the editor, the writer Yoshiro Nabeda left the project 3 volumes into serialization, leaving the whole story in the hands of the illustrator, now writer as well, Shinichi Sakamoto. And man, oh man, What looked as an insane move proved itself as being the best thing that has ever happened with this manga. The story stopped focusing in the more quote-unquote competitive side of rock climbing, and it started focusing in the psychology of introverted, obsessed people. More precisely, how the experiences, mindset, and traumas of Mori affected his life as a whole. As Mori continued to rock climb, he couldn't control the urge to do it alone. Being a person that despised having friends or people to care about, as he practiced, he got more and more infatuated with the idea of climbing a mountain by himself, which is considered by basically every experienced rock climber as a suicidal mission. Some mountains are almost impossible to climb in groups. Imagine being by yourself. A mountain is a place where you need to be prepared to die anytime if you become a burden. Normally, these thoughts should dissuade one's motivation, but to Mori, that only fueled him even more. Being alone in an environment as harsh as a cold mountain for many is a scene of terror, but to Mori, it's where it lays comfort. As I mentioned previously, the name of this manga can be translated to solitary person, and that is the essence of who Mori Buntaro is. Mori doesn't believe he is worth it, worth of love, worth of friends, worth of life. He cannot just end it all, but he can definitely escape. Escape to an experience that will put him right where he wants. A situation where he only needs one person, himself. Pushing hope away is a coping mechanism that many of us have. You don't want to have hope, so you don't confess your love, you don't try to change your career, or you don't try to make new friends. The way that Mori found to escape was through rock climbing. For most people, that would sound insane, but we're all a bit insane. And that's the beauty of this manga. The way it portrays a character so different like Mori and makes it so relatable, it's even hard to put into words. Even if you're not introverted or don't like rock climbing at all, you can relate to this character, to his failures, and to his success. Until volume 3, we have a very interesting build-up and backstory of Mori. But after that the real deal begins. You need to understand that we stayed together with this man for 11 years. So we get to see a lot of this character's life. We dive in a psychological clusterfuck where you clench your teeth and can only hope for the best. The art gets darker and more surreal as the author tries to show us how Mori is really feeling through beautiful yet fearsome panels. The decision of bringing a darker tone to the art style matches perfectly the vibes of the story after Mori graduates from high school. As Mori's mind starts to crumble, so does yours. That comes as the author introduces a very famous trope if you like dark fantasy or seinen manga in general. We have the classic doom magnet.
No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, the ones I love will always be the ones who pay.
A doom magnet is a character, usually the protagonist, followed by doom and despair. He himself won't feel the full sting of this cloud of doom. Instead, any character he knows, is friends with, is related to, is inevitably doomed to some wretched fate, be it death or even worse. We have a long list of mangas that use this concept, but some I would like to mention are Berserk, Trigun, Wolf Guy, and Villain Saga. Mori Buntaro is surrounded by death. Throughout the story, you feel as Mori is not only tortured by his relationships, but above all, he is tortured by himself. That reflects a lot on us. Our self-imposed limitations a lot of times confuse our minds and present our worst side. After every page, I felt as I was really seeing the true nature of Mori Buntaro. I got to understand him, accept his flaws, and most importantly, watch him grow. It is not that you gotta check this manga because it's a fun reading. You have to read this manga because it will change your life. And that is not an understatement. Try it by yourself. I guarantee you won't be the same person after the final chapter. This story wouldn't be the same if not by all the pain and fight of our protagonist. Everything is worth it, because everything is brighter when you climb to the top of a mountain. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe for more. Keep connecting with people. Keep following your passion. Read The Climber. And of course, keep reading manga. Bye!